with us just...
Is that better?
Yeah, okay, bear with us just a minute. We're trying to get this microphone adjusted. And get these guys something to drink in case they're lonely.
That's one thing I
Okay, good morning. What a great turnout. Thank you all for coming this morning. We certainly appreciate it. This is our 28th Chamber Annual Dinner. I've been here for 4 years now.
Legislative breakfast.
Oh, legislative breakfast. I'm sorry. I've got the annual dinner on the brain. You know, you get one done, you start planning for the next one. And once again, we appreciate you all coming out this morning. At this time, I'd like to invite Sheldon Livesey up to come forward and give the invocation. If you all would please stand and remain standing, we'll do the flag, first pledge allegiance to the flag and the color guard. So, Sheldon.
Franklin Delano Roosevelt said that no greater thing could come to a land than a revival of the spirit of religion. A religion that would so sweep through the homes of the nation and stir the hearts of men and women of all faiths to a reassurance of their belief in God and their dedication to their will for themselves and for the world. I doubt, he said, if there's any problem, social, political, or economic, that would not simply melt away before the fire of such a spiritual awakening. Could we pray? Father, I want to thank you for the leaders that are here this morning. Those of our county and those in this building representing our local, our state, and our national effort, Father, to represent us. Thank you for giving us leaders, both men and women, who are men and women of integrity and faith in you and of wisdom. And we pray that you help them in every decision that they make. Lord, only you know the outcome of every decision and vote. Only through your leadership can we feel assured that we have made the right decisions. Lord, give these men and women in this room across Tennessee and across our nation wisdom as they make critical decisions that affect all of us here in this room and across the nation. When you guide us, those decisions always seem to turn out the best. Lord, I don't know that there's even a single person in this room that isn't able to sacrifice or doesn't sacrifice for the greater good of others. We've got a community of givers. And I thank you for them, Lord, and I bless them for their sacrifices. I bless those that are our leaders during their travels, that you keep them safe. I pray, Father, that you bless their spouses and their homes and their families. And we all know that it's the families that feel the brunt of that sacrifice more than any others. They're here this morning away from their families. And as they present legislation containing the common sense principles of your word, give them favor in such a pronounced way that everyone will know that it came through your leadership, and you will bring a host of people around them to support their efforts. Father, let us never be a nation that turns from the apple of your eye, Israel. Your promise is that you will bless those that bless Israel, and not only will you withhold blessings, but you will judge those nations that turn against Israel. Father, we are excited today to hear the great positive things that are going on in our state and in our nation. Thank you, Father. Thank you. We bless you for this food this morning. We ask that you nourish it to our bodies. For all things come from you, and we so acknowledge that. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Ready? Pace. Present. Colors.
May I please have your allegiance to the flag and a proper hand salute, please and thank you. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Okay.
Pace. Hold. Wait. March.
Okay, let's have another hand for the.
Good morning. Our first speaker is going to be Representative Timothy Hill. Representative Hill is a Bluntville small business owner that represents District 3, which includes Johnson and parts of Carter, Hawkins, and Sullivan counties. He previously served District 3 from 2013 to 2020, during which time he rose to the position of House Majority Whip. He is currently representing District 3 since 2023 in the House of Representatives for the 114th General Assembly. Representative Hill has recently been appointed by the House Speaker Cameron Sexton to serve as the chair of the House Disaster Relief Committee for the extraordinary session of the 114th General Assembly, which is tasked with reviewing legislation related to relief for areas in East Tennessee devastated by Hurricane Helene. Mr. Hill is also appointed to serve as the Finance Committee and the Calendar and Rules Committee for the extraordinary session. He is a member of the Health Committee and the Health Subcommittee. Representative Hill received an associate degree from Northeast Community College and a bachelor's degree from East Tennessee University. He has two sons. Ladies and gentlemen, Representative Timothy Hill.
Well, first of all, thank you. Let's see if I can do this. Well. Thank you for the opportunity to serve you. Thank you for allowing me to be here with you all, especially after the extraordinary session and all the work that was done there. It is an honor to serve with Senator Harshbarger. It's an honor to serve with Chairman Hicks. But I'm going to say a special word about Bub, if I can. But Gary is a friend. And he's not just my friend, but he's such a friend and tireless worker for Hawkins County. But since day one, when I came back, and my circumstances of being able to come back from the resignation of my predecessor a few years ago, into a special session or a special election and then a regular election to follow. He's been there to help me, to guide me, to also help me become closer with my part of Hawkins County. And I just can't say thank you to him enough. But you have a tremendous resource. I'm not going to put any more pressure on him than what's necessary. But you've got a tremendous resource in the chairman of finance sitting right here, right from Hawkins County. I think that's a round of applause right there. If I can, so as was mentioned, I came into the extraordinary session as chair. Thank you to Speaker Sexton for that. But chair of the Disaster Relief Committee. The work of the committee concluded, so I'm no longer, that was part of the extraordinary session. But we appropriated, with the help of all of our colleagues in the Senate and the House, $460 million to come east of Knoxville. And Hawkins County has access to some of those funds because the disaster declaration affected Hawkins County as well. And so while the devastation, it may not be as deeply felt here, all of our neighbors in the counties that were deeply affected from Greene all the way up to Johnson County have access to those resources. But as Mayor DeWitt and others know at the county level, we've got access to it as well here as needed. I've filed legislation because this has kind of become the passion project because, again, the Speaker gave me the privilege to be the voice of Northeast Tennessee in the House when it comes to disaster relief. I filed legislation on Thursday that goes a step further. Right now, we've got revolving loan funds, and we've got all these different funds that are available to county governments. That's good, but our people need more than loans, they need help. And so the legislation that I filed actually has direct assistance grants. It's sticky, but I think we're going to be able to get through it to provide direct relief to people in need, as well as direct relief to counties that are overwhelmed in a way that we've never seen before. I'm going to get out of the way because it also, we've got tremendous speakers up here. But please know you can call on me. My cell phone is 423-646-1589. I think some of you got it on speed dial. Feel free to call me or text me. Even if we don't agree on something, I'm happy to talk to you and happy to listen to what's on your mind. So feel free to reach out to me at any point. And thank you for the opportunity to serve you again.
Thank you, Representative Hill. Our next speaker is Representative Gary Hicks, Jr., represents the 9th District, which includes Hancock and parts of Hawkins and Claiborne counties. He has served as a House member of the 119th to the 114th General Assembly. He's represented the House District 9 state legislation since 2015, and he served 3 terms as chairman of the House Finance, Ways and Means Subcommittee, where he helped guide the passage of several multi-million-dollar state budgets that strengthened Tennessee's economy. Representative Hicks was appointed by the House Speaker Cameron Sexton to serve as the chairman of the House Finance, Ways and Means Subcommittee for the 114th General Assembly. He also chairs the Councils on Pensions, Finance, Ways and Means Committee at the Forced Extraordinary Session, 114th, I guess. He is a member of the Calendar and Rules Committee, the First Extraordinary Session, Health Committee, Select Rules Committee, and Finance, Ways and Means Subcommittee. Mr. Hicks graduated from East Tennessee Natural Gas East Tennessee State with a BS degree in computer science. He received his MBA from the University of Tennessee, where he resides in Rogersville with his wife Lori and his daughters Madeline and Caroline. Ladies and gentlemen, Representative Gary Hicks.
Thank you all very much, and I'm telling you, and I brag on him everywhere. Is Sheldon still here? Where's Sheldon? Right in front of him. I don't care where I go and I hear people pray. I would put Sheldon. He can absolutely ring the prayer bells of heaven. So I'm going to tell you, I appreciate you this morning. But you said something that caught my attention when you did, and you said a community of givers. And as I look across this room, I look at so many people that are just that. They are our community of givers. And there are some groups here well, there's one particular that I do want to stand up because I think we need to honor you. But if you're a veteran this morning, would you please stand up, because you are certainly one of our givers of our community. Would you please stand up? I know we've already done a little bit of this, but I want, also, if you serve in local government, and I mean at the local level, so any position, would you please stand? And I want everybody to look around this room. Local level, stand up. I don't care if it's county commissioner, sheriff, all the way up. Local level, stand up. Here are again our community givers, and where's Jamie Miller? Jamie, did you stand up? Because you should. Over the past couple of months, with what happened up in Northeast Tennessee, on up further, and what happened here in Hawkins County, I guess I've been on the phone probably more with Jamie than I have since we've been in the roles that we both serve in. And I'll tell you, of course, he serves at the behest of the mayor, and who's also done a wonderful job of making sure that we're doing and getting the resources that we need. But I want to thank you personally for what you do, and of course the assessor has been involved in this as well. So, but I'm telling you, the work that has gone on behind making sure that Hawkins County got the resources that we need. And of course, we were blessed when you look at our county as compared to a Unicoi County or Greene County, Washington County, Cott County. I mean, they were absolutely annihilated. And so, you'll keep those folks in your prayers. It's, you know, folks think that we're going to roll in there and we're going to have this fixed in, you know, a month or two. And, you know, we're still getting over the floods, the 2010 floods that were in Nashville. So this is certainly going to be a long process. But I wanted to make sure that I did bring Jamie and the mayor to make sure they get special attention for all the hard work, and Michael Gillespie for all the hard work that they've done to try to get us back on track here in Hawkins County. So, well, usually I walk in, and it's funny, and Nancy said, "Where's your iPad?" And Timothy looked at me and said, "Where's your notebook?" And I said, "It's all up here this morning." So I have pretty much forgotten everything that I was going to say, so y'all are in luck. We hit the ground running. We started back in the second Tuesday in January. We went into session, and here we go. And so we had the organizational period, and that's where we found out kind of what we're going to be serving and what roles and what committees we're going to be serving on. And so I'm honored this year to be serving as finance chairman of the House. That's a big deal, and not because it's a big deal for me, but it's a big deal for us. And I say us, for us up here in Northeast Tennessee, because I went back and looked, because I'm nerdy like that. I like to know the history of what's going on. And there's never been a rep from Northeast Tennessee that has ever served on the House committee. So it's a big opportunity for all of us to be able to finally remind the state that we don't end in Knoxville, that we go all the way to Mountain City. Certainly I do want to say, I'm telling you, Timothy Hill, I was, you know, the circumstances of how he came back is what it was, but I could not be prouder to serve with you know, another colleague, to share another county as Timothy Hill. I'm telling you, Timothy is solid. He knows policy, and I'm telling you, he is absolutely he's going to be a resource for Hawkins County. So I encourage you, as you have issues, reach out to him, because he wants to hear from you. And then I'll tell you another gentleman to my right that I didn't really know a whole lot when we got started. Of course, knew his mother and knew the fine work that she was trying to do up there in Washington. And now, boy, finally the reins are off. So, but I do want to brag on Bobby. I tell you, he has, you know, folks down there have come up to me and said, "Well, you've got a good one." And not that we didn't have a good one before, but I'm telling you, Bobby's hit the ground running. He's already respected by his peers, and certainly that is coming over to the House. And so I am honored, and I'm tickled to death to get to work with you, Bobby. So I'm proud to have you to my right. So we hit the ground running. We had organizational session. We broke for a week, and then we went in for an extraordinary session, if I said that right. They're not very extraordinary anymore, because it seems like since I've been down there, we have one about every session. But we went in, and there was three things we hit. Of course, we hit education, we hit immigration, and of course, we hit the flood relief. And you know, and I know some of that stuff was contentious, and you know, to be honest with you, you can argue the points both ways. And the thing that we won't know with what we passed with some of the education freedom scholarships is you know, we don't know what the exact impact is going to be. And so I'm going to tell you this: it's not the boogeyman, and we're going to get through it. We have good schools here in Hawkins County. We have good schools schools in Rogersville. And so I'll be honest with you, we take schools from private schools. We don't give them to private schools. So I'm honored and proud to be not only am I a product of public education, but I stand behind them and I'm proud to represent them. And of course, my no vote, that's where I've always been. So that shouldn't have been a surprise really to anybody. But we got through that. So that was the three things we hit: education, immigration, and of course, and a lot of that was, and I know Dan will be talking a lot about what some of President Trump, some of his initiatives, and that's really what we were doing here as a state. Just as we look at some of the immigration and some of the things, look, here's the bottom line. Folks that are in this country, that are here, that are wreaking havoc on our country, don't need to be here. That's just plain and simple. I don't care what side of the aisle. We don't get political with these events because we have everybody on both sides of the aisle. But I think that's just common sense, that we don't want people who don't belong here that's wrecking our country. It's that simple. And so that's what we're trying to do. And that wasn't political. Nancy always gets nervous when we go political. And some of these things. That wasn't political, Nancy. I'm sorry if it was. I mean it. And so that was the other piece. And so then we hit special session. We got that out of the way. And of course, then last week it was kind of more bill filing deadlines and things like that. I'm telling you, we cut our bill limit down this year. We always had 15 and we went down to 12. About 1,200 bills got filed. We've only been in existence in 220 some odd years, and somehow we still find the ability to file over 1,000 bills every year. It just blows my mind. So we'll be attacking a lot of the same things I talked about. The governor will have his State of the State Monday, actually. It'll be at 6 o'clock, and so I hope you're able to tune in and jump online and listen. There's some big initiatives that's coming. The state, we are in a really good financial position to be able to really do, honestly, what we want to do. We come out of the pandemic ranked #1 in fiscal stability, and other states can't say that. Other states, quite frankly, they're broke, and we're not. So we're able to carry on some initiatives. We're going to be looking at doing building some capital projects that are going to be huge. They're going to be going all the way across the state, certainly going to hit here in Hawkins County. And so I don't want to steal the governor's thunder. I promised I wouldn't. But there's some good things coming that the governor's going to be proposing. And again, all of that is because of what especially Timothy and those that have come before me, and what they've done to lay the foundation to make sure that we are fiscally responsible and that we're being good stewards of the taxpayers' money, because in the end, that's who it belongs to. So, again, I'm honored to be here. Thank you for letting me serve. This is hard to believe that it's been 10 years. I'm going on my 10th year. And I look around this room, and of course, the way I got in, I got an appointment. And of course, I look back there and I see Bob Palmer, and of course, see Danny Alvis, and those that I served with on the county commission, John Metz, that served there, and now many are still serving. And of course, now Robbie's serving. So we see a legacy of giving, and that just kind of keep going back to that theme of what a giving group. And the folks in this room, they are the engines that make our wheels turn, not only in our region, but certainly here in Hawkins County. So I can't say thank you enough for letting me serve you in Nashville. It's an honor of a lifetime. It really is. And so I want to say humbly, thank all of you for what you all do and support that you all show me. So thank you all. Thank you to the chamber. This is always a good event. I always know we're in the throes of session when I see Nancy come up on my phone and say, get ready, because we're having the chamber breakfast. So thank you all. Thank you for letting me be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Hicks. Next up, Senator Harshbarger, a native of Sullivan County, is a licensed pharmacist and runs his family-owned small business. He represents District 4, which includes Hawkins and Sullivan counties. Senator Harshbarger was elected to serve District 4 of the 114th General Assembly and was appointed the second vice chair of the Health and Welfare Committee. He's a member of the Agriculture and Natural Resources Committee and a member of the Judiciary Committee. He's also a member of the Kingsport Economic Development Board, and a graduate of Leadership Kingsport, a fellow of the American College of Apothecaries, and a member of the Kingsport Kiwanis Club. Senator Harshbarger graduated from East Tennessee State University, which is a Bachelor of Science degree with a double major in biology and chemistry. He attended Mercer University College of Pharmacy and Health Science and a doctorate degree in Doctor of Pharmacy. He is married to Erin and has 2 sons. Ladies and gentlemen, Senator Bobby Harshbarger.
be on this side, I'll tell you that. And thank you, Nancy, for setting this up. It's amazing to see the amount of people that'll show up at 9 o'clock in the morning and just be here to listen to a bunch of legislators. And being the new guy on the street, I don't have much to add. I do want to say that, Representative Hicks, Representative Hill, I don't want to make your heads any bigger, but thank you for mentoring me from the very beginning, in all honesty. It's one thing to see it on the outside, but to actually walk through the threshold and be in it. You need good people like this to help show you the way. They mentioned, I believe, almost over 1,000 bills. So I've got 23 of those. I didn't anticipate that until they did a final bill count. So I may have gotten over my skis a little bit this first session, but it is what it is. But like I said, I'll keep it brief. I know why everyone came here to listen to. But I just want to thank each and every one of you. I've said it once, I'll say it 100 times. During the election, Hawkins County is what put me over the edge. That's what put me in this position, and I will never forget that, I promise you. This is my last, the 6th helmet. I went across the district asking for helmets from each of the local public high schools, and I plan to proudly post those in my office in Nashville. So next time you guys come up to my office, we'll take a picture next to it because I want to represent you well. And the one thing too, I want to be as accessible as possible. I've got Miss Bernadette in the back. She was up there more than I was, I feel like, these last few weeks. But this is a prime example of being able to show up, reach out, and we've got a bill file together, and maybe 2. So please, when you have ideas, don't keep them to yourself. Let us know, because a lot of good things can happen up here. You just have to let it out and let us know. But with that being said, once again, I'm always accessible. Because it takes us about 4.5 hours to get down there, we were in it till the end, so I'm a captive audience. So if you decide to show up between Monday and Thursday, I will be there with bells on waiting for you, okay? And don't hesitate to reach out to me directly, reach out to my office if I can be of any assistance. Please do not hesitate. And the one good thing too, I almost forgot, they put me right next to my mom, and I didn't see any switches, so she won't have to discipline me, so I'm good to go. But anyways, I appreciate everything, and like I said, thank you again.
Thank you, Senator Harshbarger. Congresswoman Harshbarger represents the 1st Congressional District in East Tennessee, which includes all of Carter, Koch, Greene, Hamlin, Hancock, Hawkins, Johnson, Sullivan, Unicoi, Washington, and Sevier counties, as well as parts of Jefferson County. Dinah has been a licensed pharmacist and successful business owner for over 3 decades. She brings a no-nonsense, common-sense approach to Washington, D.C. She's dedicated to fighting for East Tennessee's priorities, including health care reform, economic development, combating the tragic opioid epidemic, and expanding the broadband access for rural communities. She continues to recognize and support our veterans for the tremendous sacrifice they have made to protect our lives and our many freedoms. Congresswoman Harshbarger served in the 117th and 118th Congress. She is currently serving in the 119th and serves on the following committees: Committee on Energy and Commerce, Subcommittee on Commerce, Manufacturing and Trade, and Subcommittee on Energy and Subcommittee on Health. She and her husband Robert currently reside in Kingsport, where they are not on their farm in Unicoi. She has 1 son and 2 grandsons. Ladies and gentlemen, Congresswoman Diana Harshbarger.
Actually, you better close your ears, because there's going to be a lot to be said about the political arena today. I don't really know where to start. Let me just tell you this. We've passed over 50 bills this month. These bills protect and unleash American energy. They protect women's sports. They crack down on illegal immigration, and it works to stop the fentanyl crisis. You know, when President Trump said he was going to hit the ground running, that's exactly what he has done. Let me just tell you, I wasn't being disrespectful. I'm looking to see what else he signed last night that I don't know about. Because he's going at the speed of light with these executive orders, and they are good. They are so good. You know, I had the opportunity to attend the White House when he signed the executive order of keeping men out of women's sports and upholding Title IX. That was huge, because if you saw that on TV, you saw those little girls that surrounded him, wasn't that the most beautiful picture of what it means for women's sports? Those little girls are going to grow up and know that they'll be protected while he's in the office of the president. But we have to get the Senate to take that bill up that we passed in the House. So at the federal level, you need to push your senators to go ahead and have them bring that to the floor. I know they're busy with confirmations, which is very, very important. You saw what happened with the plane crashes and why we needed that Secretary of Transportation in the office. When it happened, he'd only been put in office less than 7 hours when that happened. And now we've had 3 plane crashes. So it's pretty phenomenal what we're doing, and it's going pretty rapidly. So let me just tell you some of the bills that that he signed or we've got for the Senate, waiting for them to go ahead and pass those. We've got Protecting America and the Energy Act. What that does is, in the future, like when President Biden was there, he wanted to ban fracking. Well, this bill will not allow a president to ban fracking and to stop us at the level of where we can be energy independent again, okay? You can't have one man to say you ban fracking, you halt energy production, because, listen, energy security is national security, am I right?
Right.
And we have enough oil right here in just one, the Permian Basin, to last us 300 years, and we want to be an exporter again. He's talking to Canada about restarting the Keystone XL pipeline. And we had an energy committee meeting the other day talking about the safest way to transport energy is via pipeline. So we need to build those. The Hawk Fentanyl Act, we had a hearing on that yesterday, I believe, whatever day this week. And that does a lot to reclassify fentanyl, the illicit analogs, put them in a Schedule 1. And being a pharmacist, it's critical because I ended up on the intel, and if you're in law enforcement, you understand. Fentanyl's easy to make. You can make it in a few hours on the analog. It's easier to transport because it just takes 2 grains of sand to kill you dead. So those things you have to take into consideration. You look at methamphetamines and cocaines, fentanyl's much easier to prepare than either one of those. So, and it's more lethal, and they sell it for 100 times more than what the cost is to make it. So it's important that we get that passed. That's sitting in the Senate too. So the Hawk Fentanyl Act just puts those permanently, those analogs of fentanyl, and you can't name them because they'll just go recreate another one. So we have to just put that as a category and say, look, they're going to be Schedule 1s, it's going to be a criminal offense to do that, and we need to go after the traffickers, the dealers, because it only takes one pill to kill. And we had a sheriff on the panel yesterday, or the day before, it's Thursday, talking about how many people in his district had died just because they took a pill that looked like Percocet or Xanax. And the parent went up to wake them up and they were dead. So that's an important message for law enforcement to take out to the high schools. We need to be more proactive in that arena and let the parents who have lost children go talk about it. Give these kids a wake-up call. Give these young adults a wake-up call in college because it can happen. The Lake and Riley Act, that was signed by the president. This law mandates the federal detention of illegal immigrants who are accused of theft, burglary, assaulting a law enforcement officer, and any crime that causes death or serious bodily injury. And that's common sense legislation, ladies and gentlemen. Why are we allowing them to stay in our country when they have, first of all, it's illegal to come across the border if you don't do it correctly. That's a crime in itself. But when you have killed or murdered someone and you're still allowed to stay here, that's ludicrous, is what that is. So that's what that act is. I also signed on to a Birthright Citizenship Act. And listen, they've taken the 14th Amendment just turned it on its head. They say, once you come on our soil and you have that baby, it's an American citizen. That's not what that amendment is supposed to be. And it's a tourism. They make lots of money going through the Bahamas or going through the Marian Islands, having their babies there, and especially the Chinese do that. It's big business. It's birthright tourism business. So that bill is declared, the bill that I signed on to that's Representative Babin from Texas, that is there to, and there's 400,000 women that come across those borders to have their babies, so they can be United States citizens. And what happens when you have a child that's a United States citizen? It's a chain reaction, isn't it? You can get the whole family up here because of that baby. So they're anchor babies are what they're called. Now, I'm just going to briefly talk about all these executive orders, because there's been a bunch for me to keep up with these executive orders. But I will tell you this, they're calling Elon, President Elon, and they want to, the media, just don't believe them, okay? Call me if you have a question, because they want to make this so ineffective. You saw on TV where some of the Democrats showed up to the Department of Education. Why? And there are plans to send that and block grant that back to the states. It's going to be a complicated issue, but I don't know how it's going to affect the voucher bill either. I don't know what's going to happen there, but I know that's the next big thing the president's going to tackle. Okay? Because we have universities receiving money also from foreign students that are here not just here to get an education, because that education is viewed all over the world, but they're here to steal proprietary information from our universities as well. So if they have been found to be protesters, like Gaza protesters, they're going to pull those visas and send them back home. That's one of the executive orders. Do you agree with that? Yeah. If you're going to come over here and you're going to protest, especially making these Israeli students or Jewish students fear for their life, why would you allow that to happen? It's a right to be able to protest peacefully, not burn a city down, not threaten somebody's life, not trap them in a room to where they can't get out. That's what they're doing. So that's going to be a big deal. Now I've gotten more calls over this. Oh Lord, if you've called, let me just set the record straight. It's the Doge access to Treasury. You hear all this stuff on TV and it's like Elon Musk has his little minions going in, they're going to take your Social Security check. That is not the case. Okay? You don't have to worry about that. These Musk representatives, and I know some of you heard they're 19, 20, 21, they are Treasury employees now. They've gone through the background check, they've obtained the security clearances, and I don't want you to worry. What they're trying to do is see, listen, you have no idea where these checks from the Treasury are going. Sometimes they cut 2 checks to the same person. Do they ever get that other check back? No. There is so much fraud, waste, and abuse in our government system. I could stand here and talk to you. Just listen to what happened to the USAID, where your money, your taxpayer dollars were going, and they had the gall to stand there and tell the president, well, you can't tell us what to do. Well, what did Secretary of State Rubio tell them? Well, you're now going to be reserved under the State Department. You're gonna have to answer to me. And so overnight, we went from 10,000 employees to 300. Is that not remarkable? And that money that should have been going to foreign aid to help revitalize the community or help them with water or help them with whatever they need is going for such ridiculous uses. That needs to be cut. And it's not just happened overnight. This has been going on forever, because nobody wants to read the budget line by line. Nobody wants to be accountable. Who's auditing these people? Who's auditing the government? I asked that question when I got there. I said, when Trump gets back in, won't you just fire everybody and make them reapply and cut 30% off of every agency and then get rid of some? Pretty much that's what he's doing. I guess he was listening. Because Dismantling parts of the Department of Education is not gonna be easy. These people they're gonna strike like a snake in a corner, and that's what they're doing right now. Listen to what the USAID people said. They're gonna go without food, they're gonna do this. Do not listen to these people on TV, okay? And it's the same way with immigration. They're gonna show you pictures of a parent and a child being torn apart, and they're gonna tug at your heartstrings. They are not deporting the people who came over for asylum right now. They are deporting criminals that have broken our laws. Do you understand? I want you to understand. The ones they are deporting and lining up. And listen, you've got the president of El Salvador saying, bring me your worst. We're going to put them in our maximum security prison. He's taking them from anywhere. He said, I'll take your American prisoners if they're maximum security prisoners. I'm like, send them on. Get rid of our sheriffs. Listen, you're overtaxed and you don't have enough money to keep up with the prisoners you've got, and they're not even that bad. I'm like, send them on. Clear the jails out. When you send a message like President Trump is sending to the world that it's America first, they get the message. You had Mexico's president saying, we don't want to, we're not going to help you secure the border. Well, when he's threatening them with 25% tariffs, you know what she did? She came to the White House and said, well, can we send 10,000 troops to help you secure that border, sir? Yeah, and same way with Canada. Go ahead, and I know there's good and bad with tariffs. You almost have to take a scalpel, because I've talked to too many businesses that say it's going to increase the price of our goods, and then you're ultimately going to have to pay for that, and I understand that. But what you have to do is you have to send a message, and those people, even before he was elected, were coming to Mar-a-Lago talking to him about, well, this is what we'd like to do. Look at what Japan did yesterday. Does anybody know what he agreed to? They agreed to put $1 trillion in new investments into our country. What Sean Duffy is going to do, the Secretary of Transportation, they're going to revitalize, which, praise God, they're going to revitalize our FAA system. If you heard the President talk about this yesterday, I've said it for a long time. Any pilots in here, Chris, you know this, you've got up to 39 systems that the air traffic controllers have to deal with to get a plane on the ground, and you wonder why we don't have more incursions, like what happened up at DCA. Because it's just a patchwork of systems. When he said, we're going to be in the golden age again, and we're going to make America great again, and we're going to put America first, that's exactly what we're doing. And he's doing those executive orders, and I do need this at the speed of light. I can't, it's hard. It's really hard for me to keep up, but I approve of every one of them. What was the latest one, the Gaza? I'm really not sure what he's going to do over there, but he's going to fix it up and take those Palestinians. And listen, I have been to Israel, and I have been in factories to where you see the Palestinians and the Israelis working side by side. They want the very same thing. They want to raise their families in peace. They want a home that they can call their own. They want a good life, but you would never hear that on TV. Because the money we are sending to the PLO is being used to build those underground tunnels where they keep our hostages. So you just have to be bold enough to do what the president's doing, and that is he's bringing the hammer down. The men and women's sports, that's a big executive order waiting for the Senate to go ahead and pass what we've sent out of the House. You saw what happened in the Olympics with the young lady who was in the boxing ring, and she, in 45 seconds, she was out. It is not right. I'm a pharmacist, and I understand, and I've had to do these talks to explain the biological differences of men and women, and I spared nothing. I mean, we talked about menstruation, birthing babies, ovaries, uterus, the whole 9 yards, and not one reporter answered one question when I was done. There is a difference, and one of his executive orders says we will now have 2 sexes, men and women. Am I right? Yeah. And that's you can pretend to be anything you want to be, but that's what he said, and that's what we're going to do. Let's let's see, what else did he do? I have to get my phone out because I got new ones coming in. FEMA, just like what they did, I'm still trying to figure out what y'all did on that resolution with the state, with the disaster relief. What was that about? The disaster relief.
$254 million to draw down the match from 12% to 5%.
Okay. All right, because what I asked for was everything Tina asked me to get, which is almost $500 million. So they approved every bit of that money for our disaster relief here in the counties. And, yeah, I didn't want him tying that to anything, so just checking. But, look, sometimes when you have a huge disaster like that hit North Carolina, Tennessee, Virginia, and all the other states, if you are a red state, they sometimes forget about you. That's why you saw me on the tarmac with our vice president saying, sir, don't forget about Tennessee. I know you've gone to North Carolina, and I know you're going to Damascus, but you've been there twice. You're landing at the Tri-Cities Airport, but I want you to remember, I have counties who have been devastated. And he took that message back, because I'll be meeting with Secretary Duffy Monday. And I'm going to make no bones about it. Tennessee it's just like Gary said, economic development should never stop at Knoxville. We need the money filtering in up here, and I talked to Heath back there. There's good things happening. We're trying to get people to come and relocate here. We've got to get our counties that have been hit so hard, like Johnson County and Cotton County and Carter County and all these other counties that have, Washington County, who would have thought that we would be affected like we were with the hurricane? But these will be long-lasting effects. And I talked to Franklin Graham at the prayer breakfast, or I think that's whatever it was. No, it wasn't at the prayer breakfast, at the inauguration. I went up to him and I said, thank you for the work you're doing in North Carolina. And I said, Tennessee has been hit very hard. We're right across the hill from you up in Avery and Run Mountain. He said, Diana, he said, it'll take at least 3 years to even get them back on their feet, because we're still waiting for temporary housing for some of these people. But you know what? We're resilient. The church has stepped up, the community stepped up, and listen, I've been in every one of those counties the day it happened, and I'm still going to those counties to make sure they have what they need. Because if they don't, what is the old saying? The squeaky wheel gets the grease. Yeah, buddy, it does. And when you have the speakers here, when you have the presidents here, it's a lot easier to get you what you need up here. Because East Tennessee's on the map. They know, and they know who we are. I want you to know that. I want you to be encouraged. The president said, and I want you to be encouraged that he's going to do what he needs to do for our country. Look, given those back pay to the gentlemen and the ladies that were in the military that didn't take the COVID vaccine, he's reinstated that. And what are our recruiting numbers? I just read last night. The biggest recruiting surge we've had in 15 years, and the president says probably 25, 350 a day are signing up to protect our great country. Why is that? They see strength in the White House, somebody who's got their backs, somebody who will be there if they need help. And he's demonstrated that. And he's only been on the job, what, 3 weeks? It's pedal to the metal because this man knows what's getting ready to happen. And all the notices that went out that says, you gotta get back to work. Do you know how many calls I had at my office? Many people walked in and said, I don't know if I should say this, Cody, but it's the truth. Somebody walked into our office and said, I'll work out of your closet or your bathroom. I just don't want to, I just have to come back to work. And Cody's smart enough to say, well, where's your regional office? He said, it's in Greenville. Cody's like, why don't you drive 45 minutes? He's like, cause it's just too far. I'm like, get his name, because we're turning it in. And how many calls from the VA, people didn't want to go back to work, and they were mad. They were just venting. But you know what? Could you do your job from home? Sometimes you can. But these are federal workers who've been getting paid and maybe working 20% of the time. So I say, good riddance. That's that 30% I say get rid of in the first place. That order caused more calls to the office, as well as the confusion about the Doge and the being able to access, the Treasury than anything else I've done. But Lord, let's see, I'm just trying to, let me get my little list here, hang tight. They're coming at the speed of light, okay? Let's see. What else? Throw me some executive orders and ask me about them. He just did one on upholding the Second Amendment yesterday. Did you know that? At every level of government, you have the right to bear arms. Let's see. Ending the weaponization of federal government, the right of American people to engage in constitutionally protected speech. We found out that they were paying these news agencies like Politico, who badgers the heck out of us in the halls, $8 million. I'm like, why are we giving that to news agencies? And it's not just them, it's many more. I'm like, when you gonna get, I mean, I listen to NPR sometimes, but I'm like, it's not what you think it is. The order to return to work, pending review, he's frozen a lot of assets just looking to make sure, like these non-governmental organizations that are doing everything with the asylum seekers and the illegals. Hey, freeze that money until you see that that's where it's going to the right cause. I've said that from the get-go since I've been there in the Southern Homeland. I'm like, what are these NGOs? What are these non-governmental organizations getting multi-million-dollar contracts, and they might have been in existence for 2 weeks? It's people who left the government, started an organization, and now they're taking that money, and that's what's happening. You know that USAID is just a slush fund for the CIA and all these agencies that want to funnel money to their cronies. That's what that is. Because when you go from 10,000 to 300, they mean business. I mean, there's many more executive orders. I know Nancy's got a ball game to go to. Listen, just trust me. It's hard enough for me to keep up with these executive orders. But the thing is, I want to represent you to the best of my ability. And as they've said, everybody up here, what an honor it is to come up here and do. If you don't see us, how do you know we're working for you? That's why I'm out in every county that I have whenever I'm home, and they've had us up there a lot. But I drove home late last night just so I could be here early this morning. And I'm going to meet with the secretary Monday morning early, and then I'll drive straight to DC. But East Tennessee's on the map, and I want you to know that. And if there's ever anything you need, all you gotta do is pick the phone up and call Cody. Right, Cody? Well, really, I get texts from everybody just about, right, Linda? I know. If she needs something, baby, she's on it. But feel free to reach out to me. It's just an honor to represent you, and man, I love this. This is why you go to government, to do the will of the people. We have a mandate, and I didn't even touch reconciliation, what we're getting ready to do with the budget. And we have to bend the spending curve. If you're going to cut taxes, you better, by gosh, be ready to cut spending. And we're in the middle of, on my committee on energy and commerce, we're going to have more cuts than any other committee in Congress, because the old saying, if it moves, it's energy, if it doesn't, it's commerce, and we have jurisdiction over the world. And so what we're doing with healthcare and energy policy, commerce and technology, it all has an impact on you. And so just know that you can reach out, just like Bobby said, when you have bill ideas, you reach out. I'm here to work with the representatives in the House and the Senate on bill ideas that I see coming down, that they tell me your state needs to do this. That's where I send a lot. I'd be texting Rusty or one of these other guys, you need to look at this. We can do it on the state level because we're a well-run state. And so it doesn't escape the president. If you're on Fox between 6 and 9, man, he's going to zoom in on you. And that's where I want to be, giving him ideas on Newsmax or Fox, because he'll follow up. So you may see me on TV a lot more than you want to, but it's okay. And by the way, the day of the inauguration, I had so many people texting me pictures. Do you know why I was in the front? Because they were going to send us in by class when we were elected, and it was going to be, the other side was going to be sitting in the front. You get Marjorie Taylor Greene involved in that, and myself and Mary Miller. And we're like, no, why are you doing that? And so the little staffers tried to control us, and all I said was this. I said, son, you don't want just one over here to cause a ruckus, do you, in the inauguration? I said, because she's getting ready to, and I'm trying to help you out. And he just turned around, blessed him, and walked away. And we ended up leading the whole conference to the rotunda where they did the inauguration. I just want you to know, you gotta be bold, and sometimes you do kind of bend the rules. But you always say, honey, bless your heart, and it's all good. But you gotta say it just that way, okay? So thank you all for being here. It's a great turnout, and it's an honor of a lifetime to represent you, and know that my door is always open. As Jimmy Quillen said, he took the door off, and we have an open door policy. You contact me if you have any question, or if you need casework, if you just have an idea, or you want me to go talk to the executive branch about something, I can do that, all right? So thank you all for being here, and come find me afterwards if you have a question for me, okay? Thank you, guys.